So if you've seen part 1 of all of this, you'll see the problems and issues I've had and everything else. And it got worse. I broke down 2 or 3 times. In the end, the van wouldn't even start. I'll run a few clips of what I've taken. I'll put it all together. You can see how bad it was. I've had 2 mechanics out here. They've all advised me this, that and everything else. In all honesty, if I listened to the mechanics, I'd be £2.5 grand down now. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to have a little look myself. There's only one way to learn. But firstly, I want to say thank you to Carl. Thank you, buddy. We had a chat on the phone. You've been really helpful. Sent me an ECU down. Everything else, yeah, thank you. And there's a few other people I want to say thanks to, but let's get into the video.
Go and park that over there for me.
So with my old ECU, that was a little bit damp. It was throwing up codes after codes after codes. I was clearing some, it was coming up with others. So I think the moisture got into it. But Carlos sent me down a cloned ECU. So I plugged that in and it cleared the codes. So it's definitely partly to do with my old ECU that was a bit damp. So there's the EGR valve. Behind it is the anti-shudder valve. Now that, if you can see, is a little bit loose. Now that come off. You see the plunger down there? Right, so that was off. So basically, when that plunger lifts, I think it lifts the flap in the EGR valve, but because it was off the seat in the housing or whatever it's called, it obviously wasn't able to do anything. So once I put that back on, spun it round tight, it then changed the whole sound of the engine. There was no smoke, no nothing, so it was obviously something to do with that and the EGR. Now I looked in the EGR and the flap was slightly stuck. It was quite clean but stuck, so I forced it open a little bit so it's free, as it's then running a treat, no problem whatsoever. So once I realised the flap was free and it can open and close freely, I've then blocked off the EGR valve just to disregard that and get that out of the way. I will get it mapped out soon. So fingers crossed that has sorted it. So with the ECU and the EGR valve sorted, that has saved me. One mechanic said to me it's the turbo. So what's that, 500 quid fitted? Another one told me the injectors. So get them all off, send them out, tested, whatever the price of them. So yeah, just spent a bit of time on it myself, learnt a few bits on the way, spoke to a few good people online, and I've sorted it. Now on the button every time, there's no fault codes, nothing coming up on the reader. No smoke, nothing. Back to how it was. So a few thank yous is in order, I think. John Westbury on the LT sites, thank you so much for the messages and help and advice and everything else. It's much appreciated. Carlos, absolute diamond geezer, sent me the ECU down for nothing, just to try it out first. Yeah, spoke to you on the phone and whatever else. Absolutely spot on, mate. Thank you very much. And my old mates down here for putting up with my whinging and shit and whatever else I've been moaning about the last couple of weeks about my van, lending me the code reader and that lot. So yeah, thank you all for helping and whatever else. My van is back up and running, loaded with fishing gear, and we're gonna get out and start enjoying it again. Thanks all for watching, and if I can help with anything, just message me and we'll go from there. Cheers.